Welcome. I'm going to jump in here. We are getting ready to launch a whole new series in Power Couple Hub. And in our first module, I wanted to do a little bit of a pre work lesson. And then we thought, hey, we'll just go ahead and share it with the larger community. It's going to give you a taste of some of what we do and how we teach and all that kind of good stuff. But for those of you that are not familiar with who I am, I'm Melissa McCreary. I'm one of the founders of the Power Couple Hub. Dave, my husband, and I have birthed this business together. We've birthed numerous organizations and businesses together, but this is really our passion around helping Christian married entrepreneurs and professionals up level their life, synergizing their personal life and their professional lives, synergizing together, synergizing as part of the Trinitarian marriage that we talk about. And so that is really our heart and mission for the Power Couple Hub. It wasn't always like that for us. We have been married 25 years. I'm not going to go a big deal into our story. If you're interested, you can find that on the site. But we can pretty much sum up our story in we overcame. We overcame the odds that were against us. And I think the big important point of that is the why and the how. And truly, the why and how of us overcoming the odds is that both of us truly believe that there was a divine purpose for our marriage. So, in those times that either one of us wanted to give up, throw in the towel, that knowledge of our divine purpose is what gave us the strength and encouragement to push through and not give up. So, what I want to do right now is confirm that word over you. I know that if you are here listening to this, if you are in our sphere of influence, you also have a divine purpose on your marriage. And that divine purpose is so much more than just what happens in your household, but how you impact the kingdom as part of the narrative that he created for you before the foundation of the earth. So today marks the beginning of something that can absolutely be extraordinary. And I am thrilled to offer you a glimpse into some of our transformative trainings. So, an opportunity to experience the change that is waiting for you. As you sit there, perhaps you feel the weight of unrealized potential in your marriage, in your career, in your family. Yes, you have a level of being successful, right? But are you truly living the dream that you've envisioned in your heart for your life? Is your spouse? Or do you find yourself trapped in the daily grind or continually pulled back to the daily grind, questioning even, is this the pinnacle of the journey? Dave and I have been on that very path. We've grappled with the challenges of nurturing a thriving business while fostering a healthy, fulfilling marriage. The world will tell you can't have both. You have to have one or the other. You focus on building your business or you focus on building your marriage. Telling you that's a lie. We were designed to operate in prosperity and abundance in all areas simultaneously. But I get it. There were nights filled with doubt and questions, even wondering if our individual ambitions were overshadowing our shared dreams. Before we even knew we had shared dreams, our individual ambitions were all that we had, and we didn't even know how to combine them into a shared dream. It's really a familiar struggle. Being so close to success, like you can taste it, you can smell it, you know it's there, but you're feeling distant from the true happiness and fulfillment that's the marker of the success that you desire. Many of us have found career success, financial success. Look, you've made it. Only to find we really don't feel fulfilled, let alone happy, right? You might have moments here or there, but really deep down, you have found it's not truly satisfying. The struggle we learned isn't a signal to surrender or you've done something wrong or something's amiss. It's actually a call to alignment. There is a supernatural alignment. Your marriage is divinely designed for that very few people actually tap into because they don't even know it exists. Your marriage is more than just a part of your life. Your marriage is actually a reservoir of untapped potential. It represents a supernatural capacity that is divinely designed for you to tap into, ready to amplify every facet of that's the essence of what we do at the Power Couple Hub. You're here listening to this because a part of you refuses to settle for mediocrity. Deep down, you know you're destined for more love, more connection, more fulfillment, more success, more influence, more impact. This journey isn't just about you. It's about the extraordinary path you and your spouse are destined to walk together in. This doesn't mean that you're always doing the same thing. Your commission does not mean that you are both doing the same thing, but walking together is a whole other ballgame. Today, I'm not just sharing knowledge. I am literally offering you this abundance lifeline, a pathway to transform those feelings of frustration or stagnation or being stuck, not really being able to break through to that level is there waiting for you into this narrative of triumph, of fulfillment, of purpose. Our journey at the Power Couple Hub is your guide to a life where your personal and professional goals don't just coexist. They actually complement and empower each other. They synergize together to produce something more than either one by themselves can. So imagine a year from now, looking at your spouse and seeing more than just a life partner, seeing your partner in purpose. Envision a renewed sense of passion in both your relationship and career. You guys, this dream isn't far-fetched. It is truly the reality that is awaiting you to discover it. It makes me think of the scripture that all of creation is moaning and waiting for understanding of God's children. We've got to grab a hold of this. Our system has transformed countless couples' lives. You don't have to take our word for it. You can look at any number of testimonies that are out there. And as a member, you're going to get access to a treasure trove of resources designed to enhance your business streak, improve communication, truly foster unbreakable synergy within yourself, with your spouse, with your mission, with the Trinity. It's so powerful. Are you ready to step into a life of abundance, of purpose, shared success? Because your journey can begin now. Today, we're going to embark on the part of the journey focusing on the renewal of our minds, especially in relation to our past. This experience is probably going to be unlike anything that you have encountered before, because we're going to uncover hidden aspects of your life, often overlooked, and how these have been influencing and shaping you in silence. This key understanding will shift you from feeling those trapped in repetitive cycles, stuck, unfulfilled, to walking in the freedom of your divine design. But the first step of this journey is confronting our core beliefs about ourselves, our future, our truest identity, and the promises we've already been given. It's not about what you hope for, but what you genuinely believe at your very core. Remember, we're not called hopers. We're called believers. It's critical to address what we actually believe, why we believe it, and what's behind those beliefs. Renewing our minds is about fully embracing the belief that all things have already been redeemed, but our task is to restore them and renew them. And we begin with the renewal of our mind and understanding actually what is our mind. So engaging in this transformation requires a conscious choice and active participation. There's no magic wand. It's not a passive process. I believe many shy away from this path because it begins with personal accountability for everything influencing us from our past. Regardless of your past, what has happened, what happened to you, what was outside of your control, et cetera, because it's our choice today that shapes our present and our future. We have to take ownership, or one of my favorite books, extreme ownership of how much power and influence we give to our past experiences. Now, you may say, oh, I've had total healing from my past and I don't give it any power, et cetera, unless you've gone through this process or a process very similar to it, which is on the rare side. Your past experiences that have formed your beliefs have more power and influence than you're realizing. This process allows us to view our experiences through a completely different lens than probably you've ever done before. This is also going to help us create fresh reference points that reshape our belief systems that are built around these significant life events. Transformation requires deliberate, present moment awareness, leading us to develop emotional intelligence, infusing our thoughts, actually retraining our brain, our mind, and infusing our thoughts with positive, empowering emotions and perceptions that build beliefs for a renewed mindset. You guys, unlocking the abundant life that is promised to you. I came to bring you life and life more abundantly, right? Is about embracing life here and now. He wasn't talking about salvation or an afterlife. The barrier to this life is often 99% the lack of true mind renewal. Without it, we're susceptible or falling to self-sabotage without even realizing it. So this brings us to a critical point. Our present life is shaped by our core beliefs. We behave every single day. We behave from our beliefs. We make decisions based on our beliefs. And our decisions create outcomes. Oftentimes, traditional religious beliefs can actually inadvertently become barriers to manifesting God's promises because they're not renewing our mind in the way that Jesus talks about. This is a topic we'll actually explore more in another session. But now, consider someone living in abundance who isn't a Christian. We all know them, right? How are they living that abundant life and we're not? We're like, wait, we've been promised this abundant life. This person over here who doesn't even believe in God or Jesus is living an abundant life. Now, oftentimes what I see is this poverty or orphan mindset. And it's like, oh, they must have cheated or stolen, or they're not really fulfilled. They're not all of these things that we make excuses. And that just comes from another part of our mind that we have to renew. What if, hold on to your hats, it's going to be a little bit of a mind bender. What if their abundance is a manifestation of operating from a heavenly position that's outside of time? You're like, they're not a believer. They're not there. But imagine if their future acceptance, right? I always call them pre-believers. So right now we know them as a pre-believer. But what about in the future? They became a believer, and that acceptance of faith retroactively influences their life, affecting their past experiences because they actually had some of these concepts around mind renewal that we've missed. In this course, we're going to delve into the concept of being outside of time and its impact on our timeline, past, present, and future. Just as Jesus transcended time, right? Freeing all of humanity, past from him, the present that was with him, and those of us that weren't even born yet, the future. We too can experience a transformation that reshapes our entire timeline. How can I say that? Because we are as he is right now. We explore personal experiences where God transcends our temporal boundaries, impacting our history and propelling us into the fullness of our future. So you'll have to prepare for a journey that is truly mind-bending. It's a great adventure. So let's venture deeper into the concept of unblocking and unlocking your story, aligning it with his story. It's a play on history, right? This journey is about unraveling the narratives that have been shaping your existence. Our lives are really like tapestries woven from stories that govern our thoughts, our conversations, our beliefs, our social media narratives. Every culture, family, corporation, they're all defined by stories. Since ancient times, stories have been the primary vehicle for knowledge transfer. Jesus used parables, simple yet profound stories to impart truths. Stories have the power to transform not just individuals, but entire communities, generations, whether in business, your hometown, family, your church. They captivate hearts and ignite passions that endure through generations. Your story, too, is that powerful and significant. It's not just a timeline of events, it's a narrative of God's unceasing intervention, His unwavering love, constantly trying to guide you towards His purpose for your life, His hopes and dreams for you. Before you were born, your life's narrative was already being woven, filled with hope and promises from a loving Father. But there's another narrative at play, one that's attempting to derail all of that, or at least diminish what your Father intended for you. Your life's story is a journey woven between these two narratives pulling on you, a journey of the human experience and personal growth. Consider your life as this ongoing scripture, a story of the Father's relentless pursuit of His children's destiny. And the richness of your story is intrinsically tied to the prosperity of your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. The experiences you encounter can either be obstacles or stepping stones to growth, depending on your choices, depending on your perceptions, depending on your beliefs around your experiences. The ultimate narrative of your life hinges on a critical decision: life or death. We're presented with these choices every single day. I encourage you to daily, consciously, intentionally choose the story of life. As we prepare to delve into the tactical components that we'll be going through with our members, it's essential to recalibrate our mindset. This is why we're actually doing this pre-training to the training. We all carry a mixture of narratives that have shaped our past. Some parts are beautiful, others are painful. We might wish to erase parts of our past, but that's not the mindset that we want to go after those pieces with. There are aspects of our psyche that remember no matter what. And there are unresolved elements to those parts that can continually undermine us, often without our awareness. So today we start a journey of understanding, resolving, and then integrating these narratives, transforming them actually into powerful catalysts for growth and fulfillment. In our upcoming module, we'll be diving deep into this resolving the past with some of our tools. Here, we explore the fascinating neuroscience behind our brain's tendency to take the path of least resistance. Typically, our immediate reactions to events, particularly negative ones, are automatic. So this course aims to guide you in reinterpreting, resolving these events, finding the hidden positives, what they were doing for you, and charting a new constructive path, right? We know that all things work together for our good. This is what we do in this part of our history mapping. So picture this, like negative experiences in your life have been quietly laying down this dark, dense forest of trees in your mind. Our goal is to transform these dark areas into vibrant, life filled groves. This isn't just about like mental transformation, it can actually lead to physical healing and manifestation. So, two of my favorite experts in this field, Dr. Caroline Leaf and Dr. Andrew Huberman, if you're not following them, highly encourage you to follow them. I love the revelations and neuroscience that they share. So, what you'll hear oftentimes, like from Dr. Caroline Leaf, is what they have found through science is you have these dark trees in your mind and these light, vibrant trees in your mind. And they look like trees. They're the synapses in dendrites that are formed from our experiences. The dark trees are formed from negative experiences, and the light trees are formed from positive experiences. And you can actually transform them. So, the thing that I find super fascinating is we have two trees in our mind, or two groves of trees in our mind. And our mind is our garden. I hope you are grabbing a hold of what I am laying down. And what's super cool about trees is we know that when we cut a tree, we see all of these rings, right? And those mark the environment that tree was in that season. So you can tell if it was going through drought, if it experienced fire, if there was a lot of rainfall, all of this kind of stuff. The trees in our mind do the same thing. So there are neuropeptide markers that get attached to these depending on our perception of the experience that we are going through. And what I want you to understand in this is that all things, all created things have a natural survival instinct. And so they will do everything they can to continue to remain alive. So if we have neuropeptide markers on these dark trees, you have to understand that they're going to do everything they can to remain alive. And that is often happening by reinforced experiences and beliefs. And so I want you to grab a hold of that little nugget of neuroscience before we move forward at all. So, have you ever felt stuck, like in your journey towards your definition of success, what you're really looking for in success? Maybe you and your spouse find yourself repeatedly facing the same challenges, going around the same mountains over and over. I can completely shift that experience for you by sharing one amazing revelation. So many times people think that going around the same mountain is because they didn't learn a lesson. It's some kind of punishment. They're being held back. But the Lord actually showed me years ago that He walks you back around this mountain, not because there's punishment, not because there's some lesson, some negative connotation to this, but there's actually a gift, a talent, a tool He wants you to have in order to move into the next area. When you find yourself circling back around, I want you to stop and go, okay, Lord, I've missed a gift somewhere. I've missed a tool somewhere. What is the gift? And you guys, that in and of itself was the biggest mind shift when Dave and I were circling the mountain so many times. That's a freebie little nugget for you there. Or perhaps you there's a sense that there's more to life but it seems to remain like just out of reach. Like you can smell it, you know it's there, you know that, but you just can't seem to break through to it. So just reflect on some of those feelings of repeat cycles, of not breaking through, of being stuck, of something just out of reach. That no matter what, like despite your earnest efforts, like your head's there, your heart's there, you just haven't achieved the desired results. This training is the first step towards the breakthrough you've been seeking. This can be a breakthrough year for you. The choice is yours. Designed to usher you into greater abundance, fulfillment, and freedom. We'll examine how significant emotional events have sculpted your journey, pinpointing both the positive experiences that propelled you forward and the negative ones that have created invisible barriers. So when I talk about significant emotional events, these are events in your history that actually released one of those neuropeptide markers, creates a memory file, and creates either a light tree or a dark tree. We'll get into it in more detail in our teaching module, but these are how significant emotional events are formed in our brain. So like you don't remember the first time you brushed your teeth because it wasn't a significant emotional event. But if the first time you brushed your teeth, you fell, jammed the toothbrush down your throat, almost choked to death, mom rushed you to the emergency room, you probably have a memory of that. It released a neuropeptide marker that marked our mind. And you might have issues, trigger moments, whatever, around toothbrushing. Anyway, we also, another thing is we find ourselves in this fog that seems to obscure our future. This can be one of two things. This fog can be a sign that we're in that lamp into our feet season, which is a season where he's requiring us to have faith in the unseen path ahead, or alternatively, it can be a smoke screen, a tactic to create confusion and impede our progress. So I'm just wondering, can you relate to any of the stuff that I'm talking about? An inability to find clear answers and paths about your future, feeling stuck in the valleys when you know you're meant to be conquering mountains, sensing that your destiny needs a reset, or knowing that you're meant for greatness, but unable to step into that role. These are common struggles, especially among high capacity individuals who are usually the people that come into our sphere. If these thoughts resonate with you, it's a sign of misalignment between your belief and your reality, misalignment between your beliefs and the promises that are literally all around you waiting for you to discover them. A disconnect that's preventing you from experiencing the fullness of abundance that you're promised, that's waiting, that's groaning for your discovery. This training is more than just a course. It's a path to realigning your narrative to his story, a journey to the abundance that is rightfully yours. A pivotal step in unlocking your pathway to abundance involves recognizing that true change begins within. Before we can alter our external circumstances and manifest the promises that are waiting for us, we must first transform our internal culture. Imagine your current environment is actually a reflection of the culture that's within you. So the culture outside of you, by definition, is the achievements, the customs, the arts, the social institutions, everything in culture around you. That's the external culture. And you have an internal culture that they talk about human intellect and achievement and whatnot. But from a biological sense, culture is about cultivating conditions suitable for growth. Your internal culture is like a fertile garden, and it is nurturing the growth of perceptions, of beliefs, of expectations that you might not even be aware of. And that culture, it's like a petri dish, right? That culture is actually manifesting in your external world. So, how do we transform this internal culture? How do we master our lives, ourselves, sharpen our focus, and embrace a renewed mindset? Like in practical terms, a key to this transformation is unlocking the power of your story. I'm not going to ask you to write an autobiography or something. Understanding and then harnessing your story's power is essential. First, understanding that your story actually carries a power is essential. And we're going to reflect on our histories, revisiting significant emotional events and understanding how they have subtly sculpted us and formed beliefs. This process helps us identify moments that reveal our true selves and how wonderful our original design actually is. These positive aspects of our stories should serve as these guiding beacons, like signposts that God has put there directing us towards our destiny. And then there's the negative experiences, the painful moments, the traumas, the misguided beliefs, the lies, the generational untruths that I call limiting beliefs or limiting legacies, the handcuffs of generations. When these are unresolved, they transform us into these ongoing limitations that we're not even aware of. But when we can resolve them, understand them, and then transform them, they become powerful testimonies. They become strength. They become the joy of the Lord, which becomes our strength and resilience. They increase our capacity to overcome and thrive, getting out from just surviving. So, moving forward, I want to share an intriguing connection between scriptural teaching and neuroscience. This is always so fun for me. So, in 2 Corinthians 2, I think like 10 through 11, we find this. It says, anyone you forgive, I also forgive, so that Satan might not outwit us, for we are not unaware of his schemes. So, two words here that are really important is outwit and schemes. The word scheme here, I think it was like nomada in the original language. It refers to thoughts or pathways in our mind. It's crazy. The word outwit actually makes reference to a device that prospers. So this scripture literally addresses a significant emotional event. How do I know this? Because the need for forgiveness only arises from such events. We don't have to forgive somebody that accidentally does something, right? We have to forgive when something happens and one of those neuropeptide markers are released and it marks us. So it suggests also that our perceptions often reinforce existing beliefs or expectation, a concept that aligns with the science of significant emotional events, because he says, I forgive if there is anything to forgive. So forgiveness happens when there is like a sin or something that happens against us. But the sin might not have happened. It might just be you were offended because basically some perception of something. This is so critical. I hope you guys grab a hold of this. And we know that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. So a weapon, like a device, is not supposed to be prospering against us. You guys, understanding and reshaping our mental pathways is crucial. This renewing of mind isn't just about spiritual growth and reading scripture. It's about transforming our entire being, mind, body, and soul. Because when we renew our mind, which is a part of our soul, it manifests in our body. Now consider the strategy of the enemy to twist and pervert our natural design, right? Our natural design for these neuropeptide markers is to create these life-giving trees to mark them and to continually pull us towards them. But the twisting is pulling us in the other direction. Now, a natural part of our design is to have those negative trees, like a tiger is chasing us in the jungle and we need to respond. We don't sit there and we're just so happy and peaceful and this is just so wonderful, right? It's like we got to get out of Dodge. And we have this immediate reaction and we go, and yes, that's a negative experience, although saving our life is a positive experience. But the enemy has learned how to twist and pervert that natural ability in our brain, creating limiting beliefs. And the worst part about this is they're often passed down generationally. So a limiting belief can be passed down to our children's children, even though they never experienced a tiger chasing after them. So this manipulation, you guys, has been going on since the beginning. Now we are equipped to dismantle these patterns. We refuse to accept these limiting patterns as an inevitable part of our human existence. It's time to move beyond mere mortality. Paul says, stop acting like you're mere mortals. Awaken to the reality of our surroundings and the inner workings that are defining them. So today I invite you to reflect on where you stand in his story over your life. I want you to start envisioning your life as a narrative. Who are the main characters, the setting, the plot, the conflicts, the resolutions? For those of you that want to go even deeper, ask me about access to our AI signature talk architect using some of that reflection and narrative. It is transformative to see the power in your story. For our members, now we're going to be set to explore what we call the History Heart Monitor tool. You're going to use this for the rest of your life. It's mind-boggling, and it will be our primary teaching for this month. These tools are integral to your marriage and mission story, aiding in developing and increasing your influence and your impact. If you're not a member, I'm inviting you, consider this your invitation to join our membership community. Engage in our training each month, participate in our coaching sessions, and be a part of a community that uplifts and supports each other. You can find the link to join in our guides or schedule a call with me. Let's discuss whether this program is the right fit for you. Might not be the right fit for you right now. Might be able to point you in another direction. But don't miss this opportunity to be a part of something truly transformative that truly can create massive breakthrough for you this year. Let's do this journey together to rewrite our stories for a life of purpose, power, and profound impact.